was a journalist named, I think, Ismail Al-Ghoul. I don't know how they pronounce it because I know they don't use a G. And he was decapitated in Gaza the other day as he was reporting on the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh Al-Ghoul. And of course, you know what? So we know that they murder journalists. They've continued to murder journalists over and over and over again, without any consequences, without any justice. And so, of course, you get on X today and I see not just people tweeting about it. It was, the caption was, IOF kills Hamas Al Jazeera journalist. Literally no evidence. It's so maddening that they call everything Hamas and that's the end of the discussion. And I was looking at some of the people's tweets and their defense for it. And it was literally, they not only had no evidence that he was a part of any militant group, but when I said, do you have any evidence that this guy was a part of Hamas? Their response, no joke, one of the person's responses was, he worked for Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is Hamas. Literally. Al Jazeera is Hamas. No, it's literally, yes, you're right. They also killed a photojournalist too. It literally is, everything is Hamas. And you know what? And I said this in my other video, but why, I guess, should they come up with another excuse or line? Because they never have to be accountable for anything and no one ever questions them. So they can just say everything and anything I don't like is Hamas. We kill a journalist, we decapitate them. We don't provide any evidence. The guy worked for Al Jazeera. He clearly was marked press and they killed him anyway. And then they go, Hamas. Well, do you have evidence that he was a part of a militant group? Yeah, the fact they work for Al Jazeera because Al Jazeera is Hamas. And his press badge was Hamas. Evidence? No, nothing. So then, and if you'll notice, none of them even, like I said, they're so comfortable with not ever having to be accountable for anything that they do, that what I'm saying is, they're so comfortable with not having to be accountable with anything that they do that they've become lazy in their propaganda. They don't even bother coming up with another lie anymore. They don't even bother coming up with another story anymore because they know that no one's going to press them. They know there's going to be no backlash. There's going to be nothing from the international community. The so-called world free press is not going to care or say anything. There's going to be no sanctions. There's going to be no condemnation. There's going to be no investigation. There's going to be no accountability. So why would they need to come up with another lie? Why would they even need to come up with another story? All they have to say is, but Hamas, and that's sufficient. It's sufficient. It's just but Hamas and it's sufficient. So this ghoul wrote, in a surprise to absolutely no one, Ismail Al-Ghoul, the Al Jazeera reporter killed by the IOF in Gaza, was actually a terrorist who participated in October 7th. Evidence? Like, they just say shit. What's your evidence that he was a part of October 7th? Any? No? Bueller? Yeah, Linda, I agree. I am so tired of that line too, as well as Israel has a right to defend itself. But like I said, the thing that is so maddening is that they don't even have to come up with new Hezbollah. They don't even have to come up with new propaganda because no one ever questions it. Like, I have seen anyone go, where's your evidence that he was a part of October 7th? No one's asked. No one's gone, where's your evidence that he was a part of a militant group? No one's asked at all. They just assume. And it's disgusting. It's so disgusting because they smear Palestinians even in their death. Even in their death, they smear them. Yeah, this is literally their answer when you ask them for evidence. That's their answer. Source? Yeah. All you hear over and over again is Israel has a right to defend itself. And, oh, we can do whatever we want because but Hamas. Yeah. Yeah, that blacks proves that everyone is complicit in this genocide. True. Because yes, of course, the ones who are, the implicit would be the West, the United States, the UK, the fact that we're funding it and we're propping it up. But I feel like a lot of people have let places like Egypt off the hook when they're charging Palestinians tens of thousands of dollars to even try to evacuate, gouging them to try to evacuate. And even the Palestinians that have been able to get into Egypt, I have been told by people from Gaza that when they got to Egypt, they were being gouged by people in Egypt once they found out they were Palestinian, like overcharging them for goods and stuff because they knew they were desperate. And what has the Egyptian government done to help? And that doesn't mean, just because I say the Egyptian government is also complicit in this, that means that I think the Palestinians should have to go to Egypt. Like, absolutely not. They didn't have to leave their homes. Of course. We know that the Israeli regime is trying to get them out so that they can steal what's left of their land. So I'm not at all suggesting or saying that like they should all go to Egypt. They shouldn't have to. But for the Palestinians that are trying to go to Egypt, and many of them have, the fact that they are being gouged the way they're being gouged just to go is insanity. No, I know Egypt has a dictator. I know. Because that's the thing, is that like a lot of these Arab governments are complicit because they work with us. Saudi Arabia, Egypt. Egypt is our second biggest recipient of foreign aid in the United States. We give them a lot of money in aid and we prop up their dictator. Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, they're all disgusting. It's upsetting to me when I think about the fact that like there's literally no one like in a position of power, I mean, that is in defense of the Palestinians. We're just watching them get slaughtered. And everybody's just like, anyway, it's just maddening. It's maddening. It's something that I don't believe that we would see if it was any other country. Any other country, there would at least be some governments that may step in. But then when it comes to what's happening in Gaza, and they're trapped. They're trapped. That's why it gets on my nerves. It grates on my nerves when people are like, what about Ukraine? What about Ukraine? It's a totally different situation. It's not even close. Hi, Skylar. Thank you. These people are liars. And no one even... So then this... I love this comic. Yeah, where's the lie? Then this liar... Where was he? Oh, actually, I don't think I retweeted him. But wait, did Kamala Harris pick her? No. Okay, see this? How it's written on here? Well, yeah, Han, anybody that receives money from him has strings attached to it. We're not doing it for charity. Like, this is just propaganda. Eliminates Hamas operative and journalist. Like, the way this is written is a joke. The way that this is written is a joke. It is an actual joke. Like, so biased, so biased. Also, why are you putting that on there as if it's fact? That has not been confirmed. I thought Elon Musk cared about the facts, Jack. I thought he wanted free speech, but also the facts. Why are you putting that up like that as a headline when it has not been confirmed? I mean, it's just insane. And then you go to it and you see endless lies from these clowns. The Israeli Defense Forces has revealed that an Al Jazeera journalist named Ismail Al-Ghoul was eliminated yesterday in the Gaza Strip by Israeli airstrike, was actually a well-known terrorist operative within Hamas's Nukba naval commandos who had participated in October 7th with the publication and filming of propaganda videos showing attacks. Wait a second. Are they saying that he participated in October 7th because he reported on it? Oh, you guys, I think that's what they're saying. They're claiming that he participated in October 7th because he reported on it. And the fact that they actually put journalism in quotes in this is a joke. What a joke. They're just such liars. It's just so disgusting how they just smear these people in death. There was a guy that... All right, let's watch this really quick. This is another press journalist from Gaza actually calling this is the shield that the press and local organizations are praising. The shield to protect my colleagues. It did not protect any of my colleagues. What did he do? The suffering of the people? God is sufficient for us. I'm sorry, Ismail. First of all, I want to say that that video is incredible. Remember, guys, that they don't allow anybody in. They're not allowing international press in. in the past, there would be like American reporters that would be allowed in, CNN, there would be BBC reporters from the UK that would be allowed in. They're not allowing anyone in. So the only people that can actually report on the massacres that are happening are Palestinian journalists. And as he points out, it doesn't matter if they wear a press vest. It has not protected them. Why were they taking off all their press? Honestly, I don't know for sure, because that's the first time well, I guess it's not the first time they've done that. I actually think I have seen a video of somebody doing that before. I think it's a protest. I could be wrong, but what it looked like to me was them protesting the fact that, and making a statement, not just about what the Israeli regime is doing, but because of what the international community is doing, the world is doing, the world press, ignoring them, not caring about their protection, not caring about protecting the free press in Gaza. And I think that they're doing it to call out the hypocrisy. Yeah, exactly, Marco. It was a gesture. The vest means nothing. It protects you from nothing. And in fact, as Gaz just said, I think oftentimes them wearing a press vest makes them more of a target, right? Because the Israeli regime does not want press. They don't want people throughout the world seeing what's happening. They don't want people throughout the world to see what is going on. They don't want you to see it. So oftentimes when people are wearing press vests, it does make them more of a target. But you know what, though? They will attack them regardless. Yeah, Sufyan. Yeah, that's right. They will, regardless. If a Palestinian is wearing a press vest, they will target them while wearing a press vest. It does not protect them. But also, if the Palestinian journalist takes off their press vest because they don't want to be targeted, then they say, oh, well, then they're a terrorist. They just smear them. They say, oh, they're a part of, who is calling me? They just smear them. They just smear them and say, oh, actually, that's Hamas. So they can't lose to them because they're targeted if they wear the press vest and they're targeted if they don't wear it. But I actually think that, I like the fact that now turn that off, took it off. I like the fact they took it off and put it on the ground, because I think that it's true. And it was a powerful statement that they made, because not only are they, what they're saying with that statement is, we are not protected, regardless of whether or not we're wearing a press vest or not. We are not protected as journalists. But I also think it's a good statement because they are calling out the international press. They're calling out the international press with that statement. Like, where are you? Where are you? The press loves to talk about how they protect journalists everywhere. They care about journalist freedom everywhere. They care about protection everywhere. And yet, where are they on Gaza? Silent. And so is the United States, of course, because you notice that in our corporate media, the corporate media loves to talk about the press freedom when they're talking about Russia. When they're talking about Russia, they love to talk about press freedom. No, Putin. But then when it comes to Gaza and these men protesting about the fact that they are not being protected as journalists and as the press, all of a sudden, nowhere to be seen. It's just disgusting. It's just such a helpless feeling to know that they're like, what can you do, And people are just turning a blind eye. It's maddening. And then they get smeared and they get lied about and they say the same old. It's but Hamas, no matter what they do. All right. That's I'm not going to show the picture here, obviously, because I wouldn't be able to show it, but I'm sure you guys saw the picture of him in the car. All right, let's talk really quick about Ismail Haniyeh. This is an interesting, it starts from the US. That's the bitter truth. Americans must become more active. Yeah, unfortunately, it's an obvious truth. Unfortunately, people don't care. It seems like people don't really have that much of a problem with the fact that all of our politicians are completely bought off by the Israeli regime. And a lot of people who previously, had a problem with it, all of a sudden, very weird how quick that happened. Wow, the funeral procession of I have no idea what he's saying. Yeah, so this is the photo before, like not long before they killed this journalist. Journalist was reporting on what had happened in Iran with the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh before he was killed. So as many of you know, I'm sure you know, Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated on the day of inauguration of the new Iranian president in Iran, in Tehran. And Ismail Haniyeh was one of the main negotiators, hostage negotiators. I obviously don't know all the details into that, but something about it is super sus. Super sus. Because how did they get in? How did they get the intelligence? And how are they able to be so precise when they seemingly can't be so, like, precise when it comes to Gaza? Yeah, stop, that ain't right. So, we're involved somehow. I just don't know how yet. Like, I don't know how that's going to unfold. But do know, just based on the statements that all these people have made, hate them. I know I was being sarcastic, of course. Of course, they could be precise. I want to know how. And also, we know that the reason why they're also doing this is because they really, really want to go to war with Iran. And there's no way that the Iranians are going to accept this happening without some type of retaliation, because this was a humiliation for them. And doesn't Iran have a right to defend themselves? I don't hear anybody saying that. And so Iran will retaliate. And then as a result of that, you're going to hear all the warmongers here and in the Israeli regime talking about how we need to go to war with Iran. Like, it's mad weapons of mass destruction vibes. Same. Has a good ring to it. Yes, yes. Somebody needs to make me a tacky Catholic looking shirt with that name. Why was I losing my train of thought here? So yeah, so we know that they are going to be, I know, but Iran can't not respond because then they're going to look really weak. So they're probably going to do what they did last time, where they brought up, like, they kind of like gave warning before they just like super weak. But nonetheless, regardless of how Iran responds, the whole point is that they want to go to war with Iran. They've wanted to go to war with Iran for years. You have Netanyahu talking about going to war with Iran for decades. And then you have politicians here in America making up stories about how Iran is just on the brink of getting a nuclear weapon. They've been saying that for 25 years. They're almost there. They're just almost there. They're not. And then the nuclear deal, the JCPOA, was put into place. And then, of course, Donald Trump came in. He got rid of it as soon as he came into office. They have wanted this for years. The neocons in this country and the neocons in that country. So, and what happened to the hostages? Israel has a history of killing Hamas leaders who are trying to secure ceasefires. Yeah, he was the person that was working. Haniyeh was the guy that was working on ceasefire negotiations. He was also working on the hostage deal. Further evidence that they don't actually care about the hostages. They never cared about the hostages. They never, ever, ever, ever wanted to get the hostages back. And they never wanted a ceasefire. That's why they keep taking out those leaders that did that.
استهدفهما في مدينة إسماعيل الغول كان معنا اليوم من مخيم الشاطئ.
She's talking about how they assassinated Haniyeh and then immediately went after that journalist.